For over a decade, 3 young women were held captive in a house in Cleveland, beaten, abused, forgotten, and no one noticed. This is the story of the Cleveland girl murders, a case that exposed a nightmare hiding in plain sight. 3 women, Michelle Knight, Amanda Berry, and Gina DeJesus, disappeared between 2002 and 2004. All were failed by the system. All were failed by silence. Their abductor? Ariel Castro, a former school bus driver who lured them into his home and held them prisoner for over 10 years. This is not just a story of evil. It's a story of survival and a warning about what happens when we stop looking for the missing. Let's remember who they were, not just as victims, but as people with dreams, families, and lives that were stolen. Michelle Knight, born in 1980, Michelle was a bright, artistic woman from a troubled home. She struggled with instability, but was known for her kindness and creativity. She was 21 when she disappeared on the 23rd of August, 2002. Amanda Berry, born in 1986, Amanda was outgoing and loved music. She was 16 when she vanished on the 21st of April, 2003, while walking home from her job at a Burger King. Gina DeJesus. Born in 1990, Gina was a shy, sweet girl who loved photography in school. She was 14 when she disappeared. On the 2nd of April, 2004, after leaving her school. They were not criminals, they were not runaways, they were young women who trusted the wrong person and paid for it with years of suffering. Ariel Castro didn't break in, he didn't attack from the shadows. He used kindness and manipulation. He would approach his victims with fake help, offering a ride, asking for directions, or pretending to be a concerned stranger. Michelle Knight was lured when Castro offered her a ride to visit her son. Once inside his car, he drove her to his house and trapped her. Amanda Berry was picked up after calling her sister from a payphone. Castro pulled up, pretending to know her family, and offered her a ride home. Gina DeJesus was walking home when Castro pulled up and said her mother was in an accident. He told her to get in the car, and she did. Once inside 2207 Seymour Avenue, the doors were locked, the windows were covered, and their nightmare began. For over a decade, Michelle, Amanda, and Gina were held in a house in Cleveland, beaten, chained, and isolated from the world. They were kept in rooms, sometimes in the basement, often with little light or food. They were forced to call Castro Master. Michelle Knight suffered the most. She was repeatedly raped and forced to become pregnant 3 times. Each time, Castro killed the newborn by slamming the baby against a wall. He used psychological torture, telling them no one was looking for them, that their families had forgotten them, that the world had moved on. But despite the abuse, they formed a bond. They protected each other, and they never stopped hoping. On May 6, 2013, Amanda Berry saw her chance. Castro had left the house, and she managed to break free from her restraints. She ran to the front door, which was unlocked, a rare mistake. She screamed for help, banged on the neighbor's door, and cried, "I'm Amanda Berry! I've been kidnapped!" Neighbors called 911. Police arrived within minutes. When they entered the house, they found Gina and Michelle alive, but traumatized. The nation erupted in shock and relief. 3 women, missing for over a decade, had survived. Ariel Castro was arrested and charged with 937 counts, including kidnapping, rape, and aggravated murder. To avoid the death penalty, he pleaded guilty in 2013. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole, plus 1,000 years. Less than a month later, on the 3rd of September 2013, he hanged himself in his cell. The women began their recovery. Michelle Knight wrote a memoir, Finding Me, and became an advocate for survivors. Amanda Berry gave birth to a daughter shortly after her rescue and has worked to rebuild her life. Gina DeJesus has stayed out of the spotlight, but continues to heal. Their story inspired documentaries, books, and a national conversation about missing persons and domestic violence. The Cleveland Girl Murders is not just a story of evil, it's a story of survival, resilience, and a system that failed. Why were these women not found sooner? Why did no one notice? And what can we do to protect the vulnerable before they disappear? Maybe you've heard this story before. Maybe this is your first time learning about it. Either way, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Could this happen again? How can we do better? Next week, we'll be diving into another chilling mystery, the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines flight MH370. So stay tuned, stay curious, and keep solving crimes with us. Until next time, goodbye and good night.